All right, Buff Nation, what's going on? Hope you guys are having a wonderful start to your Monday. And I have been reviewing everything 7 games in from Coach Prime and our Colorado Buffaloes. And I got a lot of exciting things to go over with you guys, just taking a look at where we stand in the conference with so many statistics, rankings from a team perspective, from an individual perspective. And there was one particular stat that really did blow my mind, had me feeling very encouraged about the last 5 games of the season. Of course, if you guys got any thoughts, please like, subscribe, and join the chat in the comments. But let's go ahead and get started. Before I share my favorite stat from looking at the season so far, let me go ahead and just get into our standings here. So if you guys are wondering kind of where we stand in the Big 12, also shout out to the College Huddle for having me on their content creator network. Always appreciate their help as well. But as you can see, BYU and Iowa State here are at the top still. Both of them came very close to losing, both at home. Oklahoma State had the game, had the lead right at the end until BYU pulled ahead. Same thing with Iowa State. UCF was right there in the lead till the end of the game. And yeah, like we are in fantastic position. Of course, Kansas State has a tiebreaker over us if we end up with the same record, and only one of us can get into that second spot for that title game. They're going to hold the tiebreaker over us, but I think for the most part, we are still somewhat in control of our own destiny. I think in order to ensure ourselves of getting into the title game in the Big 12, we have to win out. That's how I feel like it's going to have to go. Definitely, if we have a second conference loss, that's going to be difficult. We're going to need some other things to really break our way. But this next weekend against Cincinnati, get your coffee ready. I need to grab mine. But this is going to be a game in which not only can we put ourselves ahead of Cincinnati in the conference standings, but we would also be given that tiebreaker over them as well. And then, we got a really important game after the bye week in our stretch of 4. I think Texas Tech is our first game after our second bye week. So that's going to be very, very important. But yeah, little bucket. I was confused. Iowa State, BYU, they're still undefeated. I mean, this conference is crazy. Anybody can win on any given Saturday or weekend. That's really how it is. It's been a fun conference to watch. It definitely has been. But yeah, I agree with you, David Johnson. We look like the best in the conference if we consistently play like this. I agree with you. And so, yeah, I'm going to go through some of the team rankings here from just where we stand at with where we stand from a conference perspective. So let's get into it, shall we? Then I'll get to some of your comments afterwards. So this is the big thing that I wanted to share. I think in the thumbnail, I might have put, this stat blew my mind. This stat blows my mind, especially with where we were at last year. Didn't have much of a pass rush. Right now, as you can see, Colorado leads the Big 12 in sacks with a total of 21. That's ahead of some really good teams, most notably Kansas State. Wow. So our defensive pass rush, we're really getting pressure. Again, 7 sacks against Noah Fafita, somebody who can scramble really, really well. That was awesome to see. Now, this isn't the mind-blowing stat I was talking about. No. Guys, you want to know what's really impressive to me is that we have 21 sacks from a total of 12 different players. So that communicates, one, we're really mixing it up with how we're bringing pressure, how we're blitzing. Credit to Robert Livingston. He's using a ton of different personnel to get pressure, to get to the quarterback, and to get sacks. Very, very impressive. 2, it also shows the quality of depth that we have now in our front 7 in order to bring pressure. We don't have anybody right now that is at the top of the conference for sacks. Um, right now, we have 3 guys that are tied with 3 for a high on the team. Samuel Okunlola. Hey, we still got a few more years of him, a couple more years of him, I believe. Tajay McCoy, he's got 3. And BJ Green, he has 3 as well. We would probably see more from Deion Hayes, once he's healthy. Nakai Hill Green with 2. Keaton Wade got 2 this past weekend. That was awesome to see. And even from the interior, we have guys getting sacks. 1 apiece to Chidozie, to Shane Cokes, to Amari McNeil. And then we also have Levante Bentley, who had 5 sacks last year, has 1 sack right now. Cameron Silman Craig has a sack, as well as Arden Walker. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, 12 buffs have been part of giving us or getting us at the top of the conference when it comes to our sack total. It's not being done by just 1 or 2 guys. It's really been a collective team effort. And I think that is what's just so cool about this defense. It's truly the sum is greater than the parts. That's a beautiful thing to see. I love that we're getting pressure, and I think that's one of the coolest team stats when I was looking at here in the Big 12. Now, another thing to keep note of, wanted to show this here, is just also like where we rank right now for turnovers and interceptions. Of course, there are some other defenses that have been getting a ton. I think it's also hard to throw against this defense. You got to complete dimes in man coverage, which every quarterback except Noah Fafita has seemed to do, but at one point or another during the game. But we have 6 interceptions right now, middle of the pack for the Big 12. And then in terms of fumbles recovered, we're right in second place next to Cincinnati. So it's going to be important for us to hold on to the ball, right, with 7. So right now we are on pace to break what we did last year under Coach Prime. I think we had 10 interceptions and 10 fumble recoveries last year. So that's 20. I think we're on pace right now for about 23 turnovers for something like that. Let's continue to see that number go up. But that's definitely encouraging. Guys, look who's down here at 3 interceptions, Cincinnati. So maybe this is a defense that we can have success at against through the air. I love to see what this defense is doing. It's absolutely wonderful. Wanted to show you guys just kind of where we stack up in terms of team, total offense and defense within the conference. So right now we're number 8 in terms of points per game, middle of the pack. I was kind of expecting us to average around like 31-ish points per game. So it's pretty funny that we're right here. It would be great to see this offense be able to get to towards the higher end of the conference. But the biggest thing, of course, is just wins. And if we're going to have a little bit better time in possession as well, maybe we're not scoring as much. But either way, I still think I've been pleased with what Pat Shurmur has done, but he's still leaving some points on the table. You can't, there's no argument against that. Like that is something that's true. But our offense has been functioning. It just looks and functions more like a real offense with playing some complementary football. And it's been nice to have some longer drives every so often to give our defense a rest. That's been very important. Not just having a bunch of 3 and outs. So right here, middle of the conference, 31 points per game. Cincinnati's right at 30. Kind of interesting, right? Now, when we go to the total defense, this is where I'm so impressed. I was expecting coming into the year Colorado to give up, I think around, I think I've said 25, 26, 27, 28, something like that. Higher 20s in terms of points per game. And we're doing great. We're essentially giving up 22 points per game. And with the offense that we have, it's a nice margin. That's a 9-point margin from where we're at right now. That's from what we're scoring. So that's great. I hope to see this defense continuing to get better as the season goes on, which I think we've seen. as well as the offense. So hopefully we can continue to climb the ranks here. But as long as we're not, dead last, as long as we're not, oh, my bad, I had this flipped wrong. Sorry. So we're number 6 in the conference. That's crazy. Okay, at 22 points per game. So, I just thought, man, as long as we don't have one of those bottom tier defenses, like we're going to be in position to win a lot of games. I was hoping for coming into the season, can we just be an average defense within the Big 12? And now we're slightly above average, guys. We're slightly above average. Isn't that a beautiful thing? I think that's a beautiful thing. Slightly above average in the conference. How about that? How about that? Wow. Okay. Even better than what I thought. Let's go ahead. I don't know if there's anything else that I really want to hit on. Well, yeah, let's take a look at where we're at in terms of just average yards per game. Right now, we're just a yard and a half under 400 per game, and we are giving up 366 yards per game. So yeah, that pretty good standing. Again, the biggest thing is how many points are you scoring and how many points are you giving up as a team, and I think we're in a good position for that. So I guess we can get to some of the leaders, in the conference. This is great stuff. Of course, Shedeur Sanders has a wide margin that he's leading the conference in completion percentage with 72.2 on the year. That's 5 points ahead of Brendan Sorsby, Cincinnati quarterback. So we're going to have to make sure we bring our best against him because, we got to increase that margin, right? But yeah, he is first in the conference in completion percentage, over 70%. That's fantastic stuff. And efficiency, almost by 10 points. Now, I forget how quarterback efficiency is calculated. But anyways, 161.6. Sorsby at 152.1. That's great to see. And he's doing this, he has a 72.2% completion with 195 attempts. That also leads the conference. So it's not like he's succeeding because he's throwing lesser than other guys, of course. No, man. Or he's completing more than anybody else. And then, yeah, in terms of attempts, he's behind Josh Hoover by just 7. So again, he's been fantastic. When we look at the yards, Shedeur is 2 yards behind Josh Hoover. So it would be great to see Shedeur Sanders finish the season with that passing title in the Big 12. But of course, the biggest thing is, let's aim to be the conference champions, man. Let's do that. He also leads the Big 12 in passing touchdowns with 19. I think he threw 27 last year. So, yeah, would love to see Shedeur break that. I think 27 or 28. 28, I think, is the school passing record for passing touchdowns. Now, he broke the total touchdowns mark last year. I think he should break it. Both of those records again, his own and the passing set by Sefo Ufau, I believe, with 28. I think he'll get there. 5 games left. And then when you look at what he's averaging, again, just 0.3 yards behind Josh Hoover with 324 yards per game. Let's take a look at the receiving. We don't have anybody that's like there in the top 3, but Travis Hunter is right there. 51 catches, 604 yards. That's for 4th best in the conference. And then we do have Lajohntay Wester here at number 13 with 445. But, I mean, this is where you see a lot more Colorado guys show up here. Lajohntay Wester tied for 1st in the Big 12 in touchdowns with 7. Travis Hunter has 6, so right behind him. Will Sheppard, 19th with 3. He's starting to really come along. So that's been awesome to see. And this is just crazy with, like, those first couple games for Tet McMillan. He's still been able to lead the conference in average yards per game receiving, even though he's kind of been shut down more so lately. Crazy. Let's get to the defense. And Travis Hunter has 2 interceptions. That's great to see. But I wanted to show this too. This was a really great thing. Solo tackles. Cameron Silman Craig is up here at the top of the conference with 41. That's great to see. And then you might notice, hey, a few other Colorado guys are here at the top of the list as well. Nakai Hill Green, number 4 in the conference with solo tackles with 34. And also somebody that I think has been fantastic. I think all of our corners tackle very, very well. Of course, Colton Hood had like a WWE style tackle in this last game. That was pretty cool to see. But DJ McKinney right here with 31 solo tackles. Now, if we take a look at like total, that's when things kind of change a little bit. But you can see still Nakai Hill Green here for 7th in the conference with 53, and Cameron Silman Craig behind him with 1. So we have 2 guys right now in the top 10 for total tackles. We have 3 guys in the top 10 for solo tackles. Sacks. Wait a minute. This ain't right. This ain't right. Nah, we just looked at ESPN, how we have guys with 3 sacks. This doesn't seem right to me. They got to fix that one. Let's take a look at tackles for a loss, shall we? BJ freaking Green, 7 tackles for a loss on the year. Good for 7th in the conference. Nakai Hill Green, in the linebacker position, beautiful with 6. I mean, yeah, BJ Green's averaging a TFL per game. That's why I call him BJ always penetrating green. Samuel Okunlola right here for 5.5 as well. So I think if you do see us finish at the top of the conference, man, or near the top of the conference, I think Nakai Hill Green, BJ Green, Samuel Okunlola, these guys part of the front 7. I think you could see them on some Big 12 like all conference teams, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, right? And definitely our secondary. I think you'll definitely see Travis Hunter, Cameron Silman Craig there. Definitely think so. I think, man, like you take away or after Shedeur and Travis, probably the next 2 guys that I'm thinking are going to be probably the next drafted players. I think it could be maybe Lajohntay Wester and maybe Cameron Silman Craig. I think those might be the dudes. Anyways. Yeah, here we go. I don't know why they have tackles over here with a sack, but that's not the right number. They got sacks over here, okay? Yeah, this is the right one because you see BJ Green, Taj McCoy, Samuel Okunlola all right there with 3. So we lead the Big 12 as a team in tackles, but we don't have anybody in the top 10 yet. But as you can see, we can get there. We can get there. It's really just getting over that 3 mark that will put you in the top 10. So let's go make sure we take care of business and make sure we block this guy, Dante Corleone from Cincinnati. He's got 3 sacks. But yeah, I think that's just about it, guys. Like again, I've just been very proud of how this team has played. Again, we are, not rushing for a ton. We did finish the year last year with like 800 and something odd rushing yards as a team. I think we will break that, but it's going to be close. We're averaging 2.7 yards a carry, which is not good. But for context, guys, last year we averaged 2.1 yards per game or per rush. So we are improved by 0.6 yards. And really, I think we've kind of seen that minimum amount of improvement that it would take to have enough of a balanced offense to keep Shedeur more upright, to have the passing game be more open, for the offense to just function better. But yeah, if we could get into that 4.0 yards, per carry and above, then I think, man, we could really start to increase the amount of points that we're scoring per game as well. In terms of defense, like, again, we're middle of the road right now when it comes to rushing yards per game. We are right here, 10th in the conference. You'll take that. I'll take that. But passing, we've been great, man. We have been great. See, we're second in the conference in passing. We know that, taking a look at Shedeur Sanders, and of course Josh Hoover is right there at the top as well. And then in terms of our passing yards per game, we've been middle of the road right there as well, 213.4. So we're giving up yards. It's definitely a more bend don't break type defense. But again, guys, we have been so good in the red zone. We have kept teams from scoring, even if they've had some drives on us. Overall, there's maybe 6 or so quarters that I felt like we have just played very bad defensively on the year. And like outside of that, I think we've done an okay job to a very good job, right? And you'll take that every time with this offense. So yeah, just very, very proud of where this team is at collectively. Coach Prime has this team just getting better really every week, and it was so encouraging to just see them come out and just kill the will of Arizona. Scheduling us as a homecoming game, so offensive, man. So offensive. They were talking all offseason about how they're so much better than us, how Fafita, Tet McMillan, they're so much better. Nah, man. Maybe Noah Fafita wouldn't have taken 7 sacks if he wasn't 5'10" and could see over the line, right? That's what happens when you have a guy that should be a kicker playing quarterback. Just going to say it, man. If you're 5'10" or below, you shouldn't be playing quarterback. I know Kyler Murray is an exception, but there are exceptions to every rule. 5'10" quarterbacks should not be something that you build your program around. That's just my opinion. Unless their name is Kyler Murray and they literally went undefeated throughout their entire career in high school at Allen High School. And that, he was just insane. He was just insane. Way more dynamic than Noah Fafita ever will be. So I'll get to some of your comments, guys. Thanks for sticking with me. But man, I just love where this team's at right now. Love where this team's at right now. Tell that to Doug Flutie. Yeah, I guess you can have like one exception like every 20, 30 years, right? I'm just, I'm a height guy. It's kind of a bit, but I'm also serious about it. Like, I don't want my quarterback being 5'10". I want my quarterback to be able to see over the line. Maybe Noah Fafita could see over the line, he would have completed a few more passes. Good to see you, Stanford. Go Buffs. Yeah, I'll get to some of your comments. I'm scrolling up. CU only accepts cash. Yeah, still waiting on my all 22 to show up. So hopefully I can take a look at how Cash Cleveland did on the replay. Can BYU and Iowa State stay undefeated? We'll have to see. They've had some close calls, right? Yeah, the dam totally broke. Absolutely. The pass rush is really just getting through, and I love, Tajay McCoy. Man, he has just been so good. Samuel Okunlola, like seeing some of these underclassmen play the way that they're playing right now, it's fantastic. And again, guys, it speaks to like all this, these dumb narratives now are just out of there in terms of like, oh, Coach Prime can't develop. Samuel Okunlola, baby. Well, I guess he was already at Pitt. Tajay McCoy, baby. That's what we're just gonna say. Lajohntay Bentley has been fantastic. It took another jump this year. Again, credit to Coach Hart. I will gladly apologize to Coach Hart every single week, especially if we get an all-conference level linebacker. Wow, man, that would be awesome. No. Shedeur does not love Cleveland. We cannot have. I know you're talking about cash Cleveland, but in terms of Cleveland Browns, no, can't let that happen. That place is cursed. In the words of Joakim Noah, who actually likes Cleveland? Who says I'm going on vacation to Cleveland? Nobody, man. That's a terribly run franchise. They will be in the market for a quarterback, but Coach Prime, The Sanders family should not allow that. That as well as Carolina. No. No. CB, in my power rankings, I have Kansas State, Colorado, and then BYU based on how they barely survived this weekend. Iowa State isn't as good as people thought. UCF put them to work. Yeah. Again, like this, I think that there's a lot of parity in this conference. And I do think, like, as a whole, when you look at teams from like 1 to 16, I think there's less of a gap than maybe you'll see with like some of these other conferences. So truly, if you don't bring your A game, man, you can anybody can beat anybody on any given weekend. I feel like in this conference, that like no doubt about it. You gotta bring it. And yeah, I think like right now I would put Iowa State up there. BYU, Kansas State, Colorado, like those would be like my top 4 as well. I think we're still in good position. It just sucks that we don't have that tiebreaker to Kansas State, but we can still make it to that championship game. We're just going to need a little bit of help. But if we take care of business in these next 5 games, I think we will get the amount of help that we need. We don't need too much to go in our favor, right? Now, if we go 7-2 in conference, that's a different conversation. But if we can finish 8-1, very nice. Yeah, Tajay McCoy as well as Keaton Wade, like both of these guys, they just have such a quick first step off the line. Their speed around the edge. It was great seeing Keaton Wade get out there and really look like that player that we saw in part-time at Kentucky, right? He looked great. Another great building block for the future at this edge rotation. No doubt about it. So I forgot him when I mentioned him earlier. So we got Okunlola, we got McCoy, we got Keaton Wade. Am I forgetting somebody else? We beat Cincinnati. We be ranked. If we beat Texas Tech, we should be in the teens. Oh, man, I still don't think they're going to give it to us. I think that these voters, these AP voters, just want to see it more and more. I think last year a lot of them are frustrated by ranking us earlier, but again, it should have happened, man, because TCU was in the national championship the year prior, and then we beat Nebraska very convincingly, but Nebraska, wasn't too hot, and then TCU ended up finishing, I think, with 1 win better than us. So I think they're at like 5-7 last year. So in retrospect, it didn't really look great, but I think if we just take care of business against Cincinnati and Texas Tech, I think winning in Lubbock is really going to do a lot with the voting. But again, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. All I really care is about where we're ranked at the end of the year, no doubt about it. Yeah, David, I totally see a lot of NFL draftees on this defense as well. We'll see, who else. I don't know if Preston Hodge is a guy that would be drafted, but maybe he's kind of on the fringes. I think Shiloh could go in day 3. I've been a little bit less bullish on him after that game against Kansas State. That might have affected his draft stock. But if he can play better every single game, maybe he can sneak in there to day 3. BJ Green, I think, has the opportunity to get drafted. We'll see about Deion Hayes. If he can get back on the field, that would really help him. But I definitely feel like Cameron Silman Craig and Travis Hunter, those guys definitely have the those are going to be drafted dudes. I think you'll see Cameron Silman Craig in one of those nice bowl games, whether that's the Senior Bowl or the East-West Shrine Bowl. Like he's so underrated. Like people don't talk about him enough, which is why I ordered his jersey. I'm a fan of his. And I've been really impressed with DJ McKinney in the run game as well. Like he's been such a solid tackler for us. Everybody in our secondary, I feel like, can tackle really, really well. And after Travis leaves this year, I feel like we're in very good hands with DJ McKinney, with Colton Hood. Those dudes are going to be our boundary corners next year. And then RJ Johnson. I did look it up. It was RJ Johnson that recovered the onside kick at the beginning of the game. So credit to him. It's great to see. Hey, Shirley, how are you doing? We cannot base last year's numbers. This is a completely different team. I mean, I was just wanting to show some of the comparisons in how we've grown. So, um, yeah. What's your guys' thoughts on the next game? Well, we better win. We better win. Cincinnati, I don't think they've had maybe as tough as a schedule as we've had. Let me pull it up. Granted, our conference schedule is looking a lot easier than it was preseason, right? But let me take a look and see what Cincinnati's done. Yeah, they come in here at 5-2 as well. They've beat an underrated Arizona State team. Yeah, 24-14. Arizona State's also 5-2. So again, credit to Kenny Dillingham. I'll pull this up right here so we can see it. So yeah, they beat Arizona State this past weekend, 24-14. They also went to UCF and beat them 19-13. So again, I think we're a better team than Cincinnati, but it does go to show like they have played very well on the road this year. Very well on the road this year. And when you can go into an opposing environment and still take care of business, regardless of what the score is, and get the W, that's something that needs to be respected. So they went to Orlando, beat UCF, and then they only lost to Texas Tech in a tough environment out there in Lubbock, 44-41. They beat Houston, which might be the worst team in the Big 12. Them like Oklahoma State, maybe. They beat Miami, which you should do on the road. But yeah, it seems like they're a team that has, just looking at the surface level of it, they seem to be doing what they should be doing on the road. Of course, you want to get that win against Texas Tech when you're putting up 41 points. But Texas Tech, man, they can swing that or sling the ball around rather. And Texas Tech wins as Cincinnati misses game time field goal as time expires. Man, I didn't even realize that. So, this is a team that I don't think that we should come in here looking past, and we should not be looking past them with a bye week coming up after this. Like, we need to handle these guys. It's a big recruiting weekend for us. That's what's been reported. We need to handle business, put on a show. And again, we want to continue to be on primetime network television, main network television through the whole year. We're on ESPN. Sucks it's such a late kickoff at 8:15 Mountain Time. But if we take care of business, again, Texas Tech, that's going to be a great game. Utah, they'll still put us in prime time for that. I feel great about going up against Utah. And then we got to finish off the season, Kansas at Arrowhead Stadium. That will be a lot of fun, as well as then finishing the season against Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy. Yeah, that's right. Height is important, guys. Height is important. If height doesn't matter to you, go play D3 ball. Is here a playoff team in the top 4 teams? What? Here a playoff in the top 4 teams are just the top 2 teams play for the championship. Yeah, we just need to get in the top 2. Then we play for the championship. We get to that conference championship game. But yeah, Gennaro, I went back and looked at it. It was RJ Johnson, 26, that recovered that fumble. But yeah, both of the Hood brothers, I'm excited about them. Like Colton Hood. I mean, he's been fantastic. He's going to be a great starter for us next year, no doubt about it. CU defense is looking so good. I felt bad for Zelinskis. He was getting lit up by the O-line coach and number 2. It was really bad. Yeah, obviously when you snap it before the quarterback's ready, that's never good. But let's see him bounce back, man. We've seen Tyler Brown have bounce back games. We've seen Shedeur Sanders have bounce back games. We've had a lot of guys that, and even though Shedeur didn't break records with this performance, and actually threw a couple picks later on in the game, uncharacteristic. Where I think maybe he was just trying to thread the needle. One was in triple coverage. He never should have thrown. Travis was wide open on that left boundary towards the end zone, and yeah, the other one got like batted, threw it into coverage, but like outside of those throws, I mean, he was great. I thought his pocket presence, decision making was, he was so much more decisive in this game. He bounced back. So that's the key, just making sure that these guys truly do bounce back if they have off games. Is Colorado leading the conference in tackles or sacks? We are leading it in sacks. I don't know. Let me see if I can pull this up if they have tackles here. I don't know if they do. Team stats, sacks, interceptions for, yeah. No, at least on the yeah. At least on the Big 12 website, they don't have that for team. So it's just tackles or for just sacks. Man, I mean, I still think, man, if we get to 8 wins, I think minimum, like Coach Prime's going to be right in there for Coach of the Year. I think he should be. Again, when you can, at the very least, double your win total from your first year, that's amazing. That's truly amazing stuff. I don't think, again, like people understand like how hard that is to do. We live in such an instant gratification type of culture, right? You can see programs like Texas A&M or man, I don't know who else has had like a very quick flip. But some of these bigger programs, because they already got the players there, they can have a very quick flip. That isn't the case, for schools like CU a lot of the time. So the fact that we could go from 4-8 to 8, 9, 10 wins, that would be fantastic. Yeah. Don Juan saying, I think we'll be ranked for sure if we beat Cincinnati. CU is a moneymaker, and the powers that be would secretly love for them to make the playoffs. Got to start ranking them to move in that direction. Yes. Sadly, I wish, man, we did 16 teams because I think we would totally have a shot of being in there if we didn't win the conference. But I just don't see the Big 12 being given the benefit of the doubt. But maybe if CU makes the conference title game and doesn't win it, maybe they're an exception. But we got to handle our own business. I think definitely. I don't think the Big 12 or the ACC, for that matter, is going to be given any favors when it comes to getting into the college football playoff. These committees, they're mainly run by dudes that are part of or loyal to the SEC and Big Ten, and so they're going to put those teams in over the majority of these other schools. So yeah, but if we can be an incredible draw, if we can put up a ton of points, all those things go in our favor. If we have a Heisman winner in Travis Hunter, all those things really go in our favor. Yes. But that's right. We cannot come in there feeling ourselves too much. We can't overlook these guys. They come in here with the same record in conference that we do, same record overall. This is so important for, like right now, I almost kind of look at every game moving forward like a playoff game. Because again, I feel like our odds go down so much more significantly in making the conference title game if we drop any of these next 5 games. It is do or die. Every single game right now is a must win. It's an absolute must win in order to get to that conference title game. We got to handle our own business. I see a trend with CU trashing UCF in Arizona. We'll trash the Red Raiders in Lubbock and continue impressing these recruits. Man, that's what I would love to see. I would love to see that. Now, Texas Tech, they had a slow start to the season. I think kind of like just we had as well, but they've been playing better football too. So, Lubbock, it's going to be popping. It's going to be a tough environment, but now we've seen this team go on the road, 2 straight road games, and just dominate and dominate. I've seen this team dominate on the road. I've seen this team dominate other Big 12 opponents on the road. So I'm definitely feeling good about any game we go on the road now for the rest of the year. Feeling good, like we're going to bring it. It's kind of strange. It's like, let's not get in our own way or get in our own head at home. Isn't that kind of funny how, of course, take Nebraska out of it, but outside of that, I feel like we've been a little bit better on the road. Yeah, Seton, he's going to be a freshman All-American, no doubt about it. He's been so good. Haba Bacon saying, I think we get 8 wins. The Bearcats and Texas Tech are truly the only teams with talent to beat us. The rest would be coaching blunders. Totally agree. And again, we've seen Coach Prime. He's gotten so much better with the game management really since CSU moving forward. Especially, man, with how he handled the end of that first half against UCF. And there's been times where Shedeur, he's not paying attention to the play clock. Coach Prime's been so much better this year calling those timeouts, especially not being, withholding on calling those in the first half to make sure that we don't have any of those delay of games. He's been much better with the game management over the last 4 games or so. He's or 5 games or so. I think he's been really, really good. And even, in the third quarter, I think against Kansas State, we took one because the play clock was running down. Again, I don't have an issue with that. He should have done that. It's always nice to have all those 3 timeouts at the end, but he might have actually had to do that twice. I can't remember, but I love the fact that he has been doing that. We had the lead there at the end of the game. We just let him off the hook. In the words of, Denny Green, man, right? We just let him off the hook. And that pass interference should have been called, man. We should have been able to continue our drive, and then who knows what happens, right? But at the end of the day, we put ourselves in a position where we needed a call from the refs, and that sucked. Now, Coach of the Year, Prime has had some blunders this year against Nebraska and KSU. I didn't really have an issue with how he handled any game management stuff against KSU. Again, I think that I think he called those timeouts at the right time. Now, Nebraska, that was just a good old fashioned butt whooping. That was bad all the way around. But yeah, I think the game management, like with Nebraska or with North Dakota State, all that stuff's been worked out. And I had no issue with them at CSU because some people might be mad. Well, they're trying to run up the score at the end of the game with CSU. No, screw CSU. They made that thing personal. If they're throwing it in a 1-possession game there at the end, I have an issue with it. But it was a blowout, and they just wanted to run up the score on them. Which, hey, I'm fine with. This is Coach Prime. Did you not expect a little bit of attitude when you're up big in a rivalry in which they personally hate these dudes? That's what I expected, whether you like it or not, whether you have a problem with it or not, whether players could get hurt or not. Nah, man. That's what I expect. This team's going to have some attitude when they're playing. Like only running the ball 12 times or less against teams with strong pass rushers, or playing a player who's struggling, not his day, rusty, whatever. The KSU lost his game is on Prime. When it comes to most of the run pass stuff, that scenario, Haba Bacon, I more so put that on Pat Shurmur. Like that's why Coach Prime hired Pat Shurmur. And just like Coach Prime isn't telling Robert Livingston what personnel or like what blitz packages to have out there. Like I truly believe he has empowered these coordinators, but Coach Prime will provide the decisions, um, or like the game management decisions, for those guys. So I at the end of the day, yes, it does fall on the head coach, but in what I feel like he truly does on game day, I feel like he did a fine job against KSU, and he did nothing from a game management standpoint, in my opinion, that put us back, which has been something that we talked about coming into this year. Is he going to be doing things that we got to overcome, right? Um, but we learned from it. The Bearcats will probably be the second best team we've played after KSU. They average 30 points per game, 230 yards passing, and about 172 yards rushing. Won't be an easy game. Balance will be the key. Yeah, man, they're definitely a quality opponent, and they were terrible last year. So credit to them for really improving this year. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I think it's going to be a closer game maybe than people expect. But I'm not one that really just thinks that all these teams are, that we're going to just handle. It takes a lot, I think, for me to predict like a super wide margin and stuff. But the fact that I thought that we'd go and handle Arizona by, I think I had us winning by 10 or whatever on the road. Yeah, dude, I just didn't respect Arizona that much. I think I respect Cincinnati a little bit more than Arizona, man. I just man, that Arizona win was just so good. Yeah, Colton Hood was so good. A lot of great storylines, a lot of good development happening with the team. Great to see Jordan Onavue out there, uh, getting some targets. It was a shame he couldn't come down with that fade, at the end from Ryan Staub for him to get his first touchdown, but it is what it is. Yeah, it sucked, that pass interference, man. Yeah, Cincinnati has just about as much talent as Colorado. They're gonna have to play a good game to beat them. Yes, we gotta come in locked in, baby. We gotta come in locked in, and we gotta look at all these games moving forward like playoff games. Truly, it is do or die. We have to win out to make that conference game. We have to win out. I'm just happy we're going bowling, bearing a major collapse. Yeah, knock on wood. Again, 2018, my first year at CU. Last year of Coach McIntyre, started out 5-0. We're ranked, all this stuff. 7-game losing streak to end the year. We don't end up bowl eligible. So, crazier things have happened. But again, the way this team plays, it just does feel different. We should honestly treat every upcoming team's running back like they're Ashton Genty, no matter the level. Better to be over prepared than get popped on by a no name running back. Just my opinion. Yes. I think again, I still think that it was the right game plan. Like you tell me before the game, like talking about Kansas State, like let's put the ball in Avery Johnson's hands. Let's pressure him. Let's force him to make some big time money throws there in the fourth quarter, third and long and stuff like that. That sign me up. Get the ball out of DJ Ginn's hands. No doubt about it. He had one drop pass that was a killer. But outside of that, he was very, very good. And like the dude just made plays. And it seemed like he might have turned a corner on the road because he had a very good performance this past weekend as well. Threw it all over the place. I think he threw for close to 300 yards, maybe a little bit over or under, like 3 or 4 touchdowns. But yeah, like let's stop the run and let's have this pass rush get to work and let's have our corners cover. Like this ain't rocket science. I think one of the reasons this defense is really succeeding is because we're just playing very instinctual. Like of course we do switch up the coverages every now and then, but ultimately it's like our front seven needs to stop the run. We'll get after the passer, we'll blitz, and we'll cover. And I just like how we haven't changed our identity throughout this season. I think that we've really stuck true to our strengths. And there's just been a couple of situations to where or really just against Kansas State, to where they're able to take advantage enough to beat us. Nebraska, it was just a failure, Dave, we had too much time in the Kansas State game in fourth quarter to win the game. Oh man, we would have driven down the field. Like, I totally believed it if we had got that pass interference call. But uh, it is what it is. I think it would be really cool to have a grudge match with KSU in the conference championship game. So we need to be cheering. Although I've loved BYU, like, they've been a really fun story. They've been a really fun team to watch. I've watched a handful of their games now, and whether it's on replay or live, I had a friend that went to the BYU game this past weekend against Oklahoma State, and yeah, but they got to start losing. Iowa State, yeah, they got to start losing. All these feel good stories. Nah, man, we need the Buffs to be the best feel good story in the Big 12, right? Then we'll shut up all the haters, man. I wonder what all these guys are going to say next year, after Coach Prime comes back and he's just, he's doing this thing. The team's had the success. They've made the jump. I don't think he's going anywhere. Florida, all these SEC schools, man, they're going to be so impatient. All that sorts of stuff. They fire coaches every 2-3 years. No, man, Coach Prime wants to remain comfortable, do his thing. It's just out here, man, and we can dominate the Big 12. We can dominate the Big 12, and it's going to be fun to see, man. Do we get another QB select quarterback transferring out here? Juju Lewis, QB select. Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, QB select. Probably the two best quarterbacks in the country right now. So QB select, wherever you are, man. Who do you got lined up for Coach Prime next? Right? And I hope Pat Shurmur sticks around. We'll see what Robert Livingston wants to do. If he wants to be a head coach, he might get that opportunity this year. But anyways, yeah, I'm getting too far down the line. I'm being a hypocrite. I always say, don't worry about that stuff until the season's over. I just enjoy it. But it's awesome to see these guys really putting themselves in position to do well. And I guess I will say this, I could totally see Pat Shurmur leaving with Shedeur, depending on how the NFL draft shakes out and all that, as a quarterback coach or something like that, with whatever NFL team. Andrew Luck, they did the same thing with Pep Hamilton, I believe, with the Indianapolis Colts. I'm sure it's happened some other times where they bring guys in from the college to the pro team where they're at. But that's going to be something that I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Does Pat Shurmur still have a desire to get back into the NFL? I really don't know. I really don't know. Or does he want to stay here at the college level? Because I think he's been doing a good job. And I think it's only going to get better with more continuity. Bring back number one. He had a pick six on his first game back. I guess Cormani learned a thing or two from Coach Prime. Hey, yeah. Congratulations to Cormani for that pick six. That was great. I think it was in garbage time. Florida was up quite a bit. Was it against Mississippi State? But yeah, he made a great read, on that little hook route or a curl, just jumped it, man, and took that thing to the house. So I think that was maybe his first like legitimate game action that he's had all year. So congratulations to him again. I think it's best for Colorado and for him, not to reunite, right? But I do want to see him get his stuff together and have success. You don't want to see him waste all that talent. I don't want to see anybody waste that talent. So it was nice to see him have that moment, and all that. Yeah, the Cincy game is another opportunity against a premium defensive tackle. Ooh, okay. And O-line has a chance to make a statement about their progress. That's great to know, Exile Rugby. I'll need to check out their defensive line. If you know his name, throw him in the chat. But yeah, it was great to see just all the offensive linemen who played this past week. It was great to see everybody kind of get into the game, and they all played well. So again, credit to Coach Woldholt. Everybody's knowing their assignments. We're doing so much better than we were last year, I think, with communicating. And again, like, you would like to see us, I think, just you'd like to just see us settle on a 5, but You can't really complain much when you just dominated when everybody's in there, right? Um, it was great to see Mayers play well. It was great to see Benson play well. Like Cash Cleveland, man, getting in the game and holding his own. That was probably like one of the biggest surprises of the season for me so far. That was awesome to see. We'll have to see, man. Let's get a nice little bounce back game from Hank. No doubt about it. Dante or Corleone, redshirt junior. Oh yes, yes, yes. I think he's got a handful of sacks as well. Elizabeth. That's a cool name. Coach Rob will stay another season and then get hired by my New England Patriots. Bookmark this. Ooh. Possibly as a defensive coordinator for, man, what is his name? Legendary linebacker that's coaching them right now. Gonna look this up because it's driving me crazy. Gerard Mayo out of Tennessee. Did he play at Tennessee? I think. Awesome to see. How do you feel about Drake May? Is he coming along? I haven't watched any of him this year. I think Pat likes college. I like the synergy that we got going on. And the more continuity we have on the staff, the better, man. The better. Like, if we bring in a high-rated transfer quarterback, who's to say this offense, can't be looking even better next year when we return? I think we can return all of the starters on the offensive line if we want. And, Seaton's going to take a jump. Hank's going to take a jump. And we also have time to bring in guys to be more competition, but also like our redshirt freshmen, they're going to take a jump. Maybe some of them are ready to compete for starting or immediate backup roles. We'll see if Khalil Benson can exercise a COVID year that I think he has. Tyler Brown should have another year of eligibility. So this offensive line, as long as we extend Coach Oldholt, remember he's on a one-year deal right now. That needs to get done. He's bet on himself, and I think that we've seen good improvement. I think we got 24 sacks on the year or 25 sacks on the year. So we're on pace, for I think around like 42 or 43, which still – don't get me wrong, it's crazy, right? But significantly less than what we had last year with 54. I want to say 54, and we passed the ball a lot. So it's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. But we've seen better performance from the offensive line this year, and coming back, bringing all that continuity, having the same coach, another year of recruiting and transfer portal. I don't see why you can't have an above average offensive line in the conference next year. I don't see why you can't have that. Jordan Seaton's going to be amazing next year. You love it. Oh, man, it's so good because now with the recruiting, now you can say, not only do we got all these weapons, right? We got all these weapons that are just ready to eat. You're going to have a ton of them. But also we can say we got the best left tackle in college football that you'll be protected by. So just don't bring in a lefty. No. We got the best left tackle in college football. We got all these weapons. We got, I think at worst, we'll have, we'll always recruit wide receivers, but we'll probably have another top 10 in the country type of wide receiver weapon room. I'm sure we'll bring in another really solid transfer. And especially, man, like if it can work out to where not only Travis is drafted as a wide receiver, but again, I could see Lajohntay Wester being that next wide receiver off the board for Colorado. If he continues to do what he's doing, maybe he can sneak into like the third round. But I think right now he's definitely a day 3 pick, somewhere rounds 4 through 7. I think Jimmy Horn could be drafted, especially with him showcasing his return ability. That's something huge. And then Will Sheppard starting to show that he can truly kind of be that prototypical X wide receiver, the red zone threat. You can throw fades to him. He looked like Cortland Sutton in this game, making that catch. He got those couple rough drops out of there. So let's see him stack really good performances because if he has a really strong finish to the season, I really do think all 4 of our top wide receivers could get drafted. And that does an insane amount of recruiting these guys in itself, man. Because now you got the data. Now you got proven results. Like we had all 4 of our guys drafted, like in the top 250, 60 players. That's insane. It's hard as hell to get drafted. And I think, man, I think at worst, all these guys are going to be, they're going to be in NFL training camps. All 4 of those guys, like no doubt about it. But I really do think that Jimmy Horn just needs to continue to do great at punt returning. Let's get him a few more big plays and touchdowns. But to be honest, man, like looking at it from, my Denver Broncos, man, just draft all these guys, please. Just try and get them all. I don't think we'll be able to get Travis, but can we get Jimmy Horn? That would be great. Wester, Will Sheppard, like all these guys. Let's go get some weapons. So, and Tez Johnson, Tez Johnson's pretty good. But I just feel great. So if we have those results, Shedeur's the number 1 quarterback taken off the board. Travis Hunter wins the Heisman. He's taken, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. That's going to be great. And then the recruiting, is really going to start rolling in, because now we're probably more viewed than we were last year. We're probably going to be the most watched team in college football this year in the regular season. If we can stack like these bonus things on top of it, like a conference championship or a conference title game appearance in freaking second year, at worst, dude, we're going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. We're winning the Pop-Tarts Bowl, eating the Pop-Tart mascot. Like, is that not cinema? Is that not cinema? I just feel great about it. Yeah. Sheppard just needs to stop dropping what appears to be the easy catches. Yes. And I don't believe, did he have any drops on Saturday? I don't remember seeing any, but that one-handed catch in the end zone, thing of beauty. Hudson, the UCF commit that came on a visit, plays defensive tackle and offensive guard. Oh, yes. And yeah, I think he's coming on the official visit this weekend against Cincinnati. I'll do a video later on like who the big list is. I'm sure we're going to have a ton of people here, but the biggest thing that helps recruitment is winning. And that's the most important thing, winning. And we're winning right now. And so now when you're winning, all this other stuff starts to matter, like the viewership, right? All that other stuff, the exposure, all that stuff matters. It's like an extra bonus, right? Living in Colorado, one of the best places to live in the country, in the world, especially Boulder, Colorado, one of the best places to live in the world. I truly do believe that. Until you've been there yourself, man, I know I'm a hypocrite because I live down in San Antonio now, but if I didn't have all my family here in Texas, there would be no reason to like, it is just, once you're there, it's hard to leave. And Coach Prime can fly that project in he wants, right? And the airport just a minute away, whatever, very close. So I would love to see him, stick this thing out, continue to build this thing, keep Pat Shurmur here. Let's see if we can convince Robert Livingston to run it back, and maybe we can make a really nice, serious run. Guys, I can't imagine what this next year is going to look like in the transfer portal. Because again, like now, guys, I really credit everybody for coming out here that did in the transfer portal, because we ended on a 8-game losing streak or something, 6-game losing streak, something like that. We were kind of memed, halfway through the college football season and on, and these guys knew that they were signing up for a rebuilding project, and they've really made a legacy for themselves, or are making one. They got to finish the job now. They got 5 games left to do it, but they're on the right path of doing that. And again, they've laid a really good foundation for the next group of guys to come in here because, yeah, we'll have a handful of guys that we'll need to replace. We'll need to replace our most two important players. And so because of that, we're going to need a much more well-rounded team, even more well-rounded, even more complementary football. We're going to need to be better at everything. Losing Shedeur and Travis, but I really do think we can take a nice step next year. And the biggest thing that's going to dictate that is just winning these next 5 games, making sure we take care of this game against Cincinnati. And then, it's going to be fun to see like who ends up coming out here because you can light up the Big 12 and get drafted number 1 overall. That's what you can tell these quarterbacks, man. You don't need to go to SEC, cannibalize themselves, all that. Come on to the Big 12, sling it around, and you'll be the first overall pick. Easy. I'm going to finish up here in a few minutes, guys. Get to some of these other questions. Dante S. I do wish we could get Jimmy the ball in more creative ways. He just runs past people when he has the ball. Yes, his speed is insane. I think they have been really looking to take him away, no doubt about it. But it would be nice to have some more manufactured touches for him, kind of in a way in which we've been very intentional on doing that with Drelon Miller, right? That ASU win for Cincinnati doesn't hold much weight for CB. Jeff Sims is no Shedeur, nor are his receivers. Wait a minute. Jeff Sims got in that game? Did their quarterback get hurt? Man. I'm looking at this now. Give me 1 second. I didn't realize that. Dang. I guess their quarterback did get hurt because Jeff Sims was 12 of 23 for 55 passing yards, no touchdowns, and had 53 rushing yards. Okay. Very good point, CB. Very good point. I didn't realize that. Who's their other quarterback? Yeah, Sam Levitt. I guess he must have been hurt. That's a bummer. But hey, Keck, forks up, baby. You got to be pumped up with what Kenny Dillingham's doing, man. He's a great coach. I wish he could have been offensive coordinator here, but I hope Kenny Dillingham doesn't leave, man. It's always nice to see guys stay with their alma mater. And you guys are the best program in Arizona right now, if you're listening to this, Keck. VH, Cokes, and Block Bully could get drafted too. Yes. And I think, if we finish with 8 wins and beyond, I think you could see, guys kind of on the fringe right there, then, getting invited to the East-West Shrine Bowl or maybe Block Bully or Cokes, those guys could get Senior Bowl invites. I forget how many guys that they invite, but I think they could sneak into day 3 for sure. Block Bully, his size is going to be used against him, but he's big enough. He's big enough. 5'11". He's big enough, over 300 pounds or at 300 pounds. He's big enough. And you see it on the field, dude. You really do. And very happy for Shane Cokes coming back. He's had, again, a great year. When you got all this other talent on the D-line, everybody's able to eat. And Shane Cokes having a great year. And that's right. Cincinnati hasn't played a quarterback like 2. No doubt about it. It looks like Josh Hoover is right up there with Shedeur. It's kind of them and then everybody else. I bet Avery Johnson's going to be up there at the top of the conference next year. I would think that. But, Josh Hoover ain't Shedeur Sanders. I need to watch some TCU, though. Are they just trying to come back from all these deficits? I'm not entirely sure. If Pat doesn't stay, make Brett the OC, maybe this is finally the time where we see him become the play caller again, because I've always wondered kind of why was he passed up on a couple times now when he seemed like he called a great offense for Shedeur at Jackson State and had balance and all of that. But he's certainly had an opportunity to learn a lot from Pat Shurmur. And I'm a big fan of continuity, promoting from within. Hey, credit to Coach Dancy now, being promoted from being an analyst last year to then working with the edge players. And we've seen, again, Tajay McCoy, that kind of development is really, really great. I love the Peggy memes. Yes, go Buffs. That's right, Stanford. Let's see here. Uh, I hope McNeil and Tafik Thomas stay. I have high upside. Yes, yes, yes. Tafik Thomas, man. I think he's been playing better than I expected as well. And you got to imagine that he's going to be due for a bigger role next year. And then I would imagine Brandon Davis Swain is going to find himself in a rotational role next year as well. Maybe kind of, start having his Tajay McCoy redshirt freshman moments next year. Yeah, like I think they both will stay. At least that's my hope. They're going to be the next guys up. They're going to be the guys as the upperclassmen that you're expecting to start to lead this group. No doubt about it. Yeah, bad man. We totally need Travis to be 100% this next game, especially on defense. He can get some interceptions to seal that Heisman. Yes, didn't really have his Heisman moment, in this game against Arizona. 2 catches and was barely. I don't think he was targeted, if I remember correctly, going through what I did last game. But yeah, the fact you weren't targeted, going up against Ted McMillan is great, and yeah, let's keep him healthy and especially keep him healthy going into this bye because you give him another week to rest that shoulder. And I think things are going to be in a really good spot for the home stretch, man. I'm getting butterflies right now just thinking about it. I really am. What's CU's win average on late games? It has not been good. If you're looking at just the Coach Prime buffs, we won Colorado State last year. And this year, we won North Dakota State. Lost to Kansas State. It's not good. But hey, maybe this is the time they finally turn the corner with playing a full game on a later kickoff date, right? Just like we saw them turn the corner on the road, let's see them, uh, get this out of the way. Get to this and then Chess Masters cracking me up. Can we expect a C5 showing this season? I sure hope so. Like, I want to see him out there. It was great to see Jordan Onivue out there, but yeah, I'm very anxious to see baby Tio. Chess Master, let's do this. And then I have to run to a meeting. But yeah, Pons in Indiana. How about Coach Sig? Like, if your coach can't be named Coach Prime, they need to be named Coach Sig. Like, imagine all the cool T-shirts you can make with Marlboro, or Newports, American Spirits, just a lot of good cigarette brands. Coach Sig is just absolutely killing it, and that Indiana defense is a fantastic unit, man. They could find themselves in the Big Ten title game, depending on how all this goes. So, D'Angelo Pons, I just got to say it. Let me pull this up here. Probably the greatest 5'9" cornerback of all time. Gonna say it. He still doesn't start on the boundary out here. No, 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 no. Let's see where they got him. Yeah, they got him playing the boundary out here at Indiana. Yeah, he wouldn't start out here, so I'm glad he went to Indiana. But let's see where he's at right now. He's got 5 pass breakups. Okay, that's very nice. 5 pass breakups and 1 TD. Okay, so you must have had a fumble recovery. And I think he's been pretty good with the tackling as well, if I remember. Yeah, 35 tackles, only 3 missed tackles from a 5'9" guy. That's great. He can get a movie, man. He can get a movie. Rudy overcoming all the odds. Yeah, I wonder where that touchdown came from. But good for him, man. I'm still waiting for him to get a pick though. If he's going to be a Hall of Famer, we need an interception, dude. Is he just too short for the interceptions? Is that what's going on? But yeah, it was great to see Indiana. Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Braska Rascal. That was that was a tough game, man. But hey, you guys are in a great position. Nebraska is long term. And Coach Sig, maybe this is why Julian Lewis is all about Indiana, man, because Coach Sig, I mean, that's a cool name, and he's got results. Yeah, they've been one of the best stories in college football this year, no doubt about it. Indiana. Nah, man, but I will give credit to Pons, man. He's at least from the statistical perspective, man, he's been good. Now, what he does need to correct here, now 5 penalties, man. That's a little too much. But again, when you're 5'9", I think that's probably just something you got to live with. But hey, 73 quarterback rating, that's great. You'll take that every time. But I'll tell you what, Pons, maybe he can compete with Preston Hodge over here. But yeah, man, good for him. Seems like he's having a really solid year. Really solid year. Looking forward to seeing him play in the UFL. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I got to get out of here. And as always, go Buffs.